What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's that time of year. The schedule has been released for the 2022 NFL season, which means it's my time to give you my lists for my most anticipated games of the upcoming NFL season. In this video, I'm going to give you my 22 most anticipated non-primetime games for the 2022 NFL season. If that sounds good to you, don't forget to spike the like button and subscribe to the channel for more BLV just like this. Also, make sure to check out the rest of the NFL schedule videos and breakdowns that I'll be making. Comment in the comment section below your most anticipated non-primetime game of the 2022 NFL season. Let's roll. My number 22 most anticipated game of the 2022 NFL season is the Vikings at the Packers Week 17. This one might be a little bit surprising to some people as it is a division rivalry, but these games have been very good over the years, and I feel these two teams are both potential NFC playoff teams, and I do feel the Vikings are a lot closer to the Packers than a lot of people want to think. They've also played them very well over the years, and we've seen quite a few shootouts between Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers. Plus, it's at Lambeau. It's really late in the season, which means the Vikings could be fighting for a playoff spot, which means this could be for the division. Who knows? But this has been a really underrated rivalry over the years, and that's why I have it at number 22. My number 21 most anticipated game of 2022 is the Dallas Cowboys at the Los Angeles Rams Week 5. This is Super Bowl champs versus America's team. Most popular team in the sport versus the team with a bunch of superstars on both sides of the football and going to be coming into this season with a ton of hype to potentially repeat. Stafford versus Dak Prescott could be very exciting. I'm very intrigued to see the wide receivers in this game with Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson thrown into the mix, and of course CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup on the other side. This could be a really exciting game. We've seen some good competitive games between these two teams over the past few years, including a playoff game. So I do believe the Rams and Cowboys, it has that energy, it has that storyline, and this is definitely going to get ratings. The number 21 most anticipated non-primetime game is the Cleveland Browns at the Buffalo Bills. This one goes down week 11. Now, I'm not certain about the Deshaun Watson status, but I assume he'll be at least back if he does get suspended by week 11, which means we're going to have Deshaun Watson taking on Josh Allen in a marquee AFC matchup. Remember, the Buffalo Bills at the first season where they made the playoffs, Josh Allen, they lost to Deshaun Watson. Now that was in Houston, but now he comes to town with the Cleveland Browns. I also think this is a really tough matchup on paper for the Buffalo Bills, as they've recently struggled against power run teams in the past. We saw the Patriots upset them in Buffalo. We saw the Colts upset them in Buffalo by running the football. And I believe the Browns can do something similar here. Stefanski versus McDermott is going to be a great matchup, but these are two very talented teams with very talented quarterbacks, and I would love to see this offensive matchup and this defensive matchup, as the Browns also have a very talented secondary to face Josh Allen on the other side, plus Myles Garrett, plus Jadeveon Clowney and company. So the Browns and the Bills, don't sleep on this one, at number 20. At number 19, the Las Vegas Raiders host the San Francisco 49ers Week 17. It's the Lenny B special. This used to be the Bay Area rivalry, but the main storyline for this game, in my mind, is Josh McDaniels taking on Kyle Shanahan. From a football perspective, offense for offensive scheme, it doesn't get much better than this. I feel this would be real exciting, and with that old school Bay Area rivalry in the background of it, it makes it that much better with a little bit of bad blood between the fan bases. I really like this game. Don't sleep on it late in this season, as both teams are probably going to be fighting for playoff spots as well. At number 18, the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. It is week number 1, the first AFC West game we will see in 2022, which is why to me it's so thrilling and exciting and interesting. The Raiders have a bunch of new additions. The Chargers have a bunch of new additions. The Raiders have a new coach. McDaniels going toe-to-toe with Brandon Staley. Offense versus defensive mastermind. Very interesting. Herbert versus Carr. We've seen shootouts in the past, especially late last season. The Raiders beat the Chargers to get to the playoffs. This is a really interesting, low-key, underrated rivalry, especially within this division, because everyone thinks of the Chiefs and the Raiders, and everyone thinks of the Chiefs and the Chargers. But it's really the Chargers and the Raiders that have been closest together in recent seasons. And I do think this season, both teams have elevated the talent pools, and this game could be a shootout. It could be some bad blood. It could be a lot of new, which is all interesting to me, and potentially the best game of the first week of the season. At number 17, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys. This is week 16, very late in the season, but this could be for the NFC East, ladies and gentlemen, because the Eagles are creeping up on the Cowboys for that crown. I know that Cowboys fans are very confident when it comes to this rivalry in recent seasons, but the Eagles, in my opinion, are the more talented team on the line of scrimmage, which is going to make life difficult for both Dak Prescott and for the Cowboys to run the ball, on top of for the Cowboys to get any pass rush and to be able to stop the run in their own right. So I view this as a very good game where the Cowboys maybe have more skill talent and more perimeter talent, but the Eagles are bigger, tougher, stronger, and I view this as an old school NFC East game. I grew up with this rivalry a ton, and it always is interesting to watch. Jalen Hurts, can he get it done this year, late in the season? I think the Eagles are going to be fighting for a playoff spot. I think the Cowboys are going to be fighting for a playoff spot. So when these two come to a head, it's going to be potentially for this division and potentially for that NFC playoff seeding. It's the NFC East rivalry. You gotta love it. My number 16 most anticipated game is the Buffalo Bills at the Baltimore Ravens. We've seen this game before the last couple of seasons, and there is this Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen 2018 NFL draft rivalry that still brews between the two of them. Lamar was better at the start. Josh Allen has been better recently, but both quarterbacks have been by far the most successful within that draft class, which makes it interesting. Both teams typically play very strong and sound defense, which has led to some defensive football games, and typically there's been bad weather. Now, this game will be earlier in the year, so can the quarterbacks take advantage? Either way, these are two very well-coached football teams, great quarterback talents, and this is always a very close football game. At number 15, the Los Angeles Chargers at the Denver Broncos, week 18. This is the last week of the season. This means this could be for a playoff spot. This could be for the AFC West for all we know. The Chargers and the Broncos, Russell Wilson versus Justin Herbert. Both teams are loaded. Both teams have fantastic talent, and this is another AFC West game. Bottom line, it's going to be big. I don't know for what, but it's going to mean something, and it's going to be close too. At number 14, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the San Francisco 49ers, week 14. This one writes itself. You've got Kyle Shanahan versus Tom Brady, my favorite coach versus my favorite quarterback. On top of that, you also have Tom Brady going to San Francisco. You have Tom Brady going home to a place that maybe rejected him, maybe didn't. We don't really know, but that makes it interesting nonetheless. And both these teams are very talented. Both have great defensive lines and can really be physical on both sides of the line of scrimmage. So this is going to be a really old school, but yet new school game with that added element of the Tom Brady storyline. At number 13, the Baltimore Ravens head to New England to play the Patriots for the cajillionth time over the past 20 years. This is week 3, but we've got the Ravens and the Patriots. As a Patriots fan, I have hated the Ravens. I have respected the Ravens. But what has always been there is a little bit of a rivalry between the Ravens and the Patriots, two of the best AFC organizations over the past 2 decades, and both have seen each other in the playoffs quite a few times. Lamar Jackson actually lost to Cam Newton's Patriots the last time that the Patriots and Ravens played, which makes it maybe a little bit of a revenge factor for Lamar versus Belichick, but Belichick also struggled versus Lamar the first time they played in that MVP season. So that's a great matchup to witness how Belichick is going to scheme and challenge and defend Lamar Jackson's legs specifically. And then on top of that, you've got the new element of Mac Jones going against a pretty sound and strong secondary in Baltimore. I really like this game. There is that organizational rivalry. Harbaugh, Belichick, they don't really like each other very much, so that makes it really, really fun. Ravens, Patriots, classic AFC matchup. At number 12, it's another matchup powered by Belichick versus quarterback. We've got the Patriots at the Packers. This one is also early in the year. It's actually the week following the Ravens and Patriots, which is why I put it back to back. It's almost like we're going from really good to a really great matchup. Patriots, Packers, Rodgers, Belichick in Lambeau, which is awesome. I think we've only seen this once before in 2014, and I recall that game for sure. The Patriots and Packers, this is going to be a good game. There's no doubt about it. Now, I'm going to be interested to see how Rodgers is able to be successful without Devontae Adams early in the season, and how Belichick, without J.C. Jackson, Stephon Gilmore, and the loaded secondary he's had specifically at the corner position, is able to defend great quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers. So that makes this one really good on the chessboard. On top of that, you've got an improved Packers defense versus an improved Patriots offense. Matt LaFleur has been touted as a great young coach. He gets to play against the master, the genius, Bill Belichick. Great game, week 4. At number 11, the Denver Broncos go to Los Angeles to play the Super Bowl champs. This is Christmas, week 16. Christmas football between a great AFC team with Russell Wilson versus the Los Angeles Rams. Now, why Russell Wilson is so important here is because Russell Wilson has struggled against the Rams in recent seasons. Makes this very interesting because now he's on a better team with potentially a better defense and potentially more help around him than he's had in the past. Now, that makes it really intriguing because we've seen the Seahawks just fall apart when they play the Rams and they're unable to protect Russ and all this stuff. But now, maybe in Denver, it could be different. Or will it be different? Will McVay and his team get the upper hand once again? We will see on Christmas. Entering the top 10, the Dallas Cowboys at the Green Bay Packers. This is week 10. The Cowboys, the Packers. We've seen playoff games. We've seen Aaron Rodgers magic after Aaron Rodgers magic. So even if we know the Packers might win this game with 1 minute left, we want it to happen because it's so exciting every single time. The Cowboys and the Packers, they've just had great shootout type games. I wouldn't expect any less in this week 10 matchup. And again, the history of the Packers versus America's team, it's just phenomenal. Plus the jerseys together just really look good. At number 9, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. This is week number 2. Very early in the year, we get to see the Saints and the Bucs rivalry resume. Without Sean Payton this time, without Bruce Arians this time. So new head coaches, but similar players and both really talented rosters. Now, the Bucs are obviously more highly touted and highly thought of, but the Saints have had the upper hand in recent history, which makes this game really, really interesting. Can Brady get back at the Saints? Can he finally dice this defense up? Or will Winston get revenge on Tampa Bay? Because he wasn't really able to last year. This game's really good, and don't sleep on this rivalry. It might actually be the best in the NFL right now. My number 8 most anticipated game is the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. This is week 7 Super Bowl rematch. Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan, Patrick Mahomes versus a lot of the key pieces that fell apart in that Super Bowl to let him come back, but no Tyreek Hill, which is a key difference. The Chiefs and Niners, two talented teams, opposite conferences, and that Super Bowl rematch. Revenge is a big deal in those type of games, so it should be really interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised if it got a little chippy too. At number 7, the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens, week number 7. Deshaun Watson's first time as a Cleveland Brown taking on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. We've seen the Ravens and Browns have superb games over the last 3 to 4 seasons. Shootouts, craziness, Lamar and Watson versus each other, two crazy playmaking quarterbacks that just run around and make thrilling, exciting plays. Like, count me in, absolutely. Plus, there's both a physical edge to both of these teams where they want to outdo each other on the ground, at the line of scrimmage, which makes it an ultimate rivalry within a division. They're familiar with each other, and they also want to out-tough each other. It's everything you want in a division rivalry. At number 6, the Cincinnati Bengals at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, week 15. Late in the season, but why this is so interesting is the media-driven storylines. Joe Burrow is the new Tom Brady. That's what everybody was saying during the playoffs, and I can see it. He's got the swagger, he's got the charisma, he's got the confidence, and he's a baller in the clutch, and that's exactly what Tom Brady has been for years. The new great leader of the NFL is what they're calling Joe Burrow. And of course, that's been Tom Brady. So these two going toe to toe with great weapons around them, this could be a really exciting back and forth type of game in Tampa Bay. Entering the top 5, at number 5, we have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals. We have seen this game before, twice last year. And the crazy part about it and why it's so interesting to me is that the same team won both games and it wasn't Kansas City. Cincinnati swept the Chiefs last year. They beat them in the AFC Championship after Mahomes had a meltdown, and they beat them, of course, in the regular season where Jamar Chase went nuclear. So can the Chiefs get their revenge this year, or will the Bengals continue to own them? This is something we haven't really seen outside of Tom Brady beating the Chiefs a bunch of times, but other than that, that's kind of normal. A team having the upper hand on Mahomes and the Chiefs, this is a new thing. So this makes this game really interesting. Can the Chiefs get their revenge? They'll certainly want it in this game. At number 4, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, week 3, Bucs, Packers in Tampa Bay. We saw that regular season game a couple seasons ago where the Bucs owned them, and then the NFC Championship game where they were blowing them out and the Packers made a late surge, almost won the game, and the Bucs advanced to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. The Bucs have their number. Green Bay, one of the top teams in the NFC. Really good matchup here. Two historic quarterbacks, two great quarterbacks who have often been compared. Week number 3. At number 3, the Los Angeles Rams go to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. This is week 12. Remember that game in 2018 where there was a million fantasy points and a million actual points and a cajillion yards? Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes went back and forth. It was a duel, McVay versus Reed. It was amazing. It was the shootout for the ages. Well, that could happen again here between Stafford and Mahomes, two gunslingers. Absolutely incredible offensive showdown here at number 3. At number 2, the Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. This is week 6. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, a historic playoff game that we just witnessed this past January. Can they do it again? Can the duel happen once again in this game? Now, some new parts, of course, like we see, but this is kind of the new Brady and Manning, and I don't say that lightly because that was absolutely an amazing rivalry and probably the best we've ever seen from a quarterback perspective in the NFL. This is that new showdown. This is that new yearly matchup where it's the measuring stick of both sides. The Bills, the Chiefs. Can the Bills pull it out here after losing in a ridiculous fashion with 13 seconds left in the playoffs? Will they get their revenge and showcase their top ability at the top seed in the AFC? Or will the Chiefs reign supreme? Great matchup between Mahomes and Josh Allen. The number 1 game for me that is not on prime time, maybe the number 1 game of the season, to be honest with you, is the Los Angeles Rams going to Tampa Bay to play the Bucs week number 9. The Super Bowl champs playing the team that almost came back on them during the playoffs, almost beat them at the last second, but Matthew Stafford has a bunch of laser beams. They go down the field, Cooper Kupp sets them up, they win the game ultimately. A crazy game that we saw in the playoffs. I think it's honestly slept on But the Rams have kind of dominated the Bucs in the last couple of years. I think they're 3-0 now against Tom Brady as a Buc, and you know Tom Brady wants revenge. Plus, this is probably going to be the NFC Championship game, so a preview of that is also very interesting. But I just want to see, can the Bucs get back on track here, or will the Rams continue to dominate that rivalry? Stafford, he ups his game versus these quarterbacks, as we've seen, and Tom Brady is going to be really angry heading into this one, so it doesn't get better than that. Those are my most anticipated non-primetime games of the 2022 NFL schedule. Let me know yours in the comment section below. It's Mitch. Thanks for watching. Gronk spike the like button, and we will see you in the next NFL schedule video. Peace!